Welcome, everyone. Good evening. So happy for you to join us. My name is Hassan Wilson. I am currently the assistant head of upper school. This is year, I think, 16 or 17. In my long tenure at Friends, I've taught in all three divisions. So our youngest, our middle school, as well as our high schoolers. I've been a sixth grade homeroom teacher. I've been a middle school advisor, upper school advisor. I was head of the science department for about 10 years. So I just can't get enough of Friends Seminary. So I'm so happy to share my love of the school with you. Um, and this session is going to be about the student-teacher relationship. And I'm just really grateful to be able to highlight that relationship at Friends Seminary. I think it's one of the things that I believe sets us apart. I thought I would start before our student panelists introduce themselves. I thought I would start with a story of one of mine to highlight a relationship that I've had with students. Um, so during the spring, when COVID first hit, we had to transition quickly to remote learning. And of course, I teach a biotech elective that's primarily seniors, as well as there was a few juniors in that class. And I was just really worried about my seniors. I think they were devastated by the spring of their senior year. You can imagine you've gone through school for 12 years or so, and then your senior year in the spring, there's a pandemic and we have to go to remote learning and we were off campus from each other. So my students were devastated. I saw the mood really shift in a way that I was concerned about. And I thought I could do something in my class to sort of lift their spirits. So for my seniors, I did um, I gathered some deep intel about my students. So I talked to their friends and to siblings, to parents, their advisors. I found out their favorite songs. And leading up to the end of the year, each class, I spotlighted a different senior. So at the beginning of class, their favorite song was playing. And then we did a game of guess who. So I described a student, one of the seniors, and the rest of the class had to guess who I was talking about. And it really lifted their spirits. They were really excited to see who was going to be, what is Mr. Wilson going to say next about which student. Um, and they look forward to those final classes. And then they surprised me. The final class, it was a final session, and then they asked to take over the class for a few minutes. And I just thought that was an odd request. And I said, okay, sure, yeah. And then all of a sudden, my favorite song started playing on Zoom. And then one of the student representatives, apparently the whole class had done some research about me. And then they read a statement about me. And it was just really touching. And, I have to admit, I did tear in class, and it was just a really moving experience for me. And that's just one of many stories that I could share, but I thought I would start this session with that story. So hopefully that gives you an idea of just what kind of community we have at Friends Seminary. So we're going to have our student panelists introduce themselves, and they're going to share a story, a quick anecdote, and we're going to start with Senlee.
Hi everyone, my name is Senlee. I'm a current junior at Friends. I would say that a really meaningful relationship that I've had with a teacher was with my ninth grade math teacher. I was really nervous coming in, but then but he was a teacher who was also a co-facilitator of an identity group that I was a part of during lunch. So I was able to see him both inside and outside of the classroom, and he had a way of making the classroom really engaging, and he was so friendly and made everybody laugh and everybody enjoyed their time. And I think he was really helpful for me, especially since I was in the regular course math in ninth grade, and he was really helpful in getting me to be able to go to the more advanced math course in 10th grade. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking to you all more about the student-teacher relationship here at Friends.
Thank you so much. Michael, would you like to give a story?
Of course. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael. I am a current senior at Friends, 12th grader. And if I had to name one of many, many stories, I think I'd go with my English teacher, Kate. I had her in both 10th grade and this year. And in 10th grade, I wasn't the strongest writer. English was never my strongest subject. But Kate really worked with me kind of hand in hand in helping me figure out how I best write and how I can best get my ideas onto paper and connect them fluidly. And she's really helped me not only become a better writer, but a better English student. And that student teacher relationship we were able to develop has been one that I've carried with me not only from 10th grade, but from 10th grade until now.
Thank you, Michael. Ahden, you want to give it a chance?
Oh yeah, thank you, Mr. Wilson. Hi everybody, my name is Ahden. I'm a current junior here at Friends Seminary. And I would say one of the most meaningful relationships I've had with a teacher at Friends was the first year I came to Friends, which was in ninth grade. We were put in advisory groups and we're still in those advisory groups. But the relationship was definitely with my advisor at the time. He was also new to the school, so we were both like kind of learning how to fit into the community, but I was a little bit more nervous and worried that like I wasn't going to be able to fit in or was going to have a hard time with the courses at Friends. But he really was there to motivate me, and he had my back. And he was, even though he was new to the Friends community, it seemed like he had all the answers. And I just could really like look to him for help and support, especially at my first year at Friends. And he even motivated me to challenge myself and both socially and academically. So I'm forever grateful for him.
Thank you. Thank you for the sharing. Mila, your turn, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Mila. I'm a senior at Friends, and I would say the most meaningful relationship I had with a teacher would be my history teacher last year. I took this elective called Religion and Social Justice in US History, and he's probably the most engaging teacher I've ever had. And I remember we had this really big essay about religion at the end of it, and I came to him to talk about a few corrections about an essay that I had written, and we ended up talking throughout the entire hour of lunch and into my next free period, and we were just talking about religion and life and different historical events that had happened. And I just remember being really engaged and captivated, and he challenged me to be more and motivated me to like work on my corrections even more, even though I kind of figured everything out already because it was so interesting and he got me really engaged.
Thank you, Mila. Thank you all for the sharing. I was half expecting all of you to highlight me as one of your favorite teachers, but that's okay. So I have a few questions that I want to pose to the panel, and I have a few students respond to some of those questions. And I think I want to start with going in a different direction. I want to talk about setbacks. I was wondering if I'm going to have a few students talk about a setback that you've had in your class, and then how did you work with your teacher to get back on track? Okay. So the first person I would like to answer that question is Senlee.
Yeah, of course. So one of the things about me is that I can be really, really shy. And especially in the beginning of ninth grade, I was really nervous to reach out to teachers whenever like I wasn't confident about something. So I kind of ended up not doing so well on some assignments that I could have met with teachers for. So I know specifically I wasn't doing very well in English class. English just isn't hasn't really been my strong suits, and I'm not a great writer. But my teacher in ninth grade was always encouraging us to reach out to them. And also my advisor was really, really helpful because I mean, she really pushes us, all of us in our advisory to um, uh, everybody in our advisory to reach out to teachers and to do the best that we can for ourselves and just to like take advantage of all the access that we have to all of the teachers here. So my advisor really encouraged me to reach out to my English teacher, which I did, and ended up meeting with her about some essays and how I could improve as the year went along. And I think it was really, really helpful for me. And I was able to improve. And I'm still trying to work on that now. Like now I'm still meeting with my English teachers, which I've been doing a lot, and trying to improve and look at the comments that I've gotten and incorporate those into my future projects and assignments.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. We're always a work in progress, so I really love that story. So thank you for sharing. Do I have another volunteer who might want to tackle this question?
Absolutely, I can definitely speak to some setbacks.
Mhm.
So come last year, spring, COVID hits. We're transitioning to online school. Super hectic for everybody. Super hectic for me. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm super overwhelmed. And in April, May, I fell behind in a couple subjects on my work. Most notably, actually, in the class that Mila had mentioned, religion and social justice. Mila was a total rock star in that class. I, I the homework assignments were really hard, and I fell behind on a couple. But our teacher Jason, as Mila mentioned, is so compassionate and really caring about his students. And I went to him and I was like, "Look, I'm having some trouble. I'm really overwhelmed with the online work here. This is new to me. It's new to everybody, and I really hope you can understand where I'm coming from." And he and I together worked out a plan for me to hand in my work on a timeline that worked for the both of us. And he was super proactive and really willing to help me not only get the work done, but do my best work in really unforeseen circumstances for everybody. And during that time, I was able to develop a student teacher relationship with him that I've really come to value, because Jason is not only a teacher, but a coordinator in a couple other parts of the school. So I had known him prior to the class, but in the class, I was really able to develop that relationship with him. And that helped me definitely reach out to him and ask for help with that work. But I'm really glad I was able to get that help from him.
Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you sharing. Let's move on to a different question about feedback. I was wondering if we had some folks that would share some meaningful feedback that you've gotten from a teacher and that it's really stuck with you. Do you have any volunteers for this question?
Yeah, I'd be happy to take this question.
Thank you.
So a specific piece of feedback that I kind of remember getting, and it's really stuck with me throughout my Friends Seminary education, has been on a particular assignment in world history in 10th grade. This assignment is called a travel narrative, and you get the opportunity to write creatively, but also historically. So going into this, I was a little confused, not too sure what to do. And I kind of just said, let me just try it out and wing it. It didn't go out so great. It didn't come out so great. And I actually got a lot of comments from my teacher. And I just said, okay, let me meet with him. And during our meeting, I just had a lot of questions, like asking for advice and how to incorporate it. And like one thing that he mentioned to me that had just really stuck with me is that he said to be myself, you know, be original. I was kind of overthinking it too much, like try to like stay creative. And I think that that's just something that's been like stuck with me, is to always like be yourself with your work, like express yourself within your work. Don't just like follow the instructions completely, like uh, inject some of yourself into what you're doing, like show that you really care about your work. And that's something that's just really stuck with me up until even now this year.
Thanks, Ahden. I've definitely heard many things about the travel narrative assignment. So thanks for sharing that. I was wondering if maybe we can get one more person to volunteer for this question.
Yeah, I had a similar experience in sophomore year. I think I was taking this French class where we were talking a ton about grammar and the more technical aspects of French language, but then also we were reading more philosophical plays, which already in English were really confusing, and I was having a really hard time understanding them, the concepts in English, let alone in talking about them in French. and I couldn't really articulate myself that well in French, and I was getting kind of nervous to speak up in class. And I remember meeting with the teacher, and he had reassured me that I had the ability to do it. I just wasn't taking advantage of the community I was in. And he said, you have this class of people who are here to support you and want you to do well. So take risks, and you might mess up, but then you'll learn from it. I think that's really stayed with me, because I'm really interested in languages, and kind of forcing yourself to talk to people even when you might make some mistakes has been really helpful.
I think that's really great advice, and advice that that I hope a lot of people take risks. I think that's a great piece of advice. We're going to go to another question. Thinking about classes that maybe you were thinking about taking, and that maybe you were kind of reluctant to take the class, but you took the class anyway, and the teacher just made you fall in love with the class. So I'm wondering if anyone's ever had that experience. Does anyone have that experience and would like to talk about that?
Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. So for me, I was definitely nervous coming into Friends, because I had heard on my tour actually that we have a really rigorous English program, and that we really take pride in our English program. But that was something that I felt kind of the least confident in, and knowing that, it was rigorous here, I was really nervous to go in. But then when I was in English class in ninth grade, I had this teacher who had a totally different approach to English than I had ever learned and ever thought about before. And we did a lot of really amazing projects. We went to the Mets. We were always acting out scenes in books and plays that we were reading. And it was just a way that I hadn't thought of at all before. And it was just a totally different approach to English, like I was saying before. And I mean, it really made me fall in love with having those discussions. I mean, I'm still working on my writing, which is what I was saying before, but I've learned to really love talking about books and having those discussions with my peers.
Thank you so much. Maybe we can get one final person to volunteer for this question.
Yeah, I could also talk about this question a lot. I even this year I'm taking a class calculus, and it's AP Calculus BC, which is really advanced, and math is definitely not my strong suit. Neither of the STEM classes really are, and I was kind of reluctant to take this class this year, thinking I'd maybe step down into the lower one. But the teacher Sue has been so welcoming and understanding of any difficulties that you may have, and kind of making it really easy to learn hard material. She's given every single day, nearly, there's a time where you can meet with her. And now it doesn't seem that scary at all. I mean, it's still hard material, but I think I was really scared and I thought I'd move down in the class, but it's been really helpful to have a supportive teacher that's kind of helped me work with material that I'm definitely not the best at.
Thank you, Mila. Thank you so much. Looking at the time, we're having such a good time. Time is flying. So I just want to ask maybe one question for the entire panel. Thinking to our audience and our guests, what's one thing you hope they will take away from the student-teacher relationship at Friends Seminary? Do I volunteer to go first?
Yeah, I could take this one first. If I had to say one thing about a student-teacher relationship at Friends Seminary, is that it's really not uncommon. These student-teacher relationships between peers and students, they're very common. Teachers are always going to be looking out for their students and being helpful and proactive. But when the student puts in the effort back and develops that working relationship with the teacher, it really pays off, and it's such a really valuable resource to have. It's benefited me in multiple classes throughout my high school career, whether it was with my advisor, my math teacher, my science teacher. It really doesn't matter. Wherever I was able to put in that extra effort and make that and really build that relationship with the teacher, I could see the payoff in my work in that class and how I was able to get help when needed.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you. Who would like to go next? What's a takeaway about student-teacher relationships?
Yeah, I can go next. I just think one key takeaway that I hope I can give to all you guys, everyone here, is that it's a two-way street. Both the student and teacher are present during them, whether it's meeting with them, asking for help. It's effort comes from both sides, and they're just really meaningful. And like you never really know what the outcome of them could be. You could have a new person that you can go to for help, whether it's in that exact class or just in any questions you have in general. And I think that it's just really important to remember that the effort you put in also reflects the effort that you get out of it, and that the teachers are here for you, are here to help you.
Thank you. Thank you. Who'd like to go next?
I can go. So I would just say that, being able to have access to these teachers is so helpful, and I've used it used those access that access on many occasions and been able to do a lot better. And teachers really want you to reach out to them, and teachers really want you to build that relationship to them, so that because they're really looking out for you and they want you to do the best that you can, and that's just so important.
Thank you. And last but not least.
I would definitely stress that point. They give you so many opportunities to meet with, and they really want you to do well. Like, they will reach out to you if it looks like you're struggling, and there's always time to meet with teachers. It's like the school is telling you, please come and meet with us if you're having trouble. And then one more thing I would add is that it's not just academic. Like, I've had one teacher that I had in middle school at Friends that every time I see her in the hallway, I can talk to her about things that are personal, that are academic, and those relationships stay. It's not only academic. I see her all the time, and it's like we still see each other every day, even though we only had a class in middle school. So I'd say those relationships are definitely very, like, both sides give a lot, and they will stay in touch with you if you put in the effort.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our panelists. You were amazing, and thank you for sharing with us. I'll just end with just a quick story about relationships. I was thinking about, I taught in public school before I came to Friends Seminary, and all the teachers went by last name. I know you heard Bo earlier tonight say that teachers go by first name. I'm one of a few teachers that go by last name, and it was just because I was used to it in public school. And I have to tell you, after years, I wanted to switch to my first name. And then when I took over as assistant head of upper school, I was teaching 8th grade, and I was telling them that I was thinking about going to my first name. And what do you think about it? And they're like, no, Mr. Wilson, don't go by last name. We call everyone by their first name. And they were just saying, like, it really doesn't matter. I mean, they were basically saying, it'll be okay. You can go by last name, first name. We still love you no matter what. And so I just got a really nice pep talk as I was leaving my position and moving into the upper school. I want to thank everyone for being part of this session. In the chat, you will see a link to the main room, which you can, leave this session and go back to the main room for the remainder of the evening. And again, to our students, thank you so much. You were amazing, and I will see you shortly. All right, take care.